Today I'm going to talk to you about filling in the demographic information on your answer booklet for the pre-ACT. The directions are the same for 9th grade and 10th grade. The directions start on page 5 in your instructions for completing your answers. It starts with letter A at the top of the page, asking what school you go to and where you plan to take the test. In our case, it's Liberty North High School, so please neatly print Liberty North High School on the line next to letter A. In the demographic portion, starting in B, the first thing it asks for is required is the last name first, and then the first name, and then the middle initial. And so you can see I've written my first name, Doe, and bubbled in the corresponding letters, D, and then O, and then E, left the remainder of the spaces and went over to first name, John, and corresponding bubbles have been filled in, and then middle initial, Q. When you've finished with letter B, you may skip letter C. You do not need to fill in letter C. You do not need to fill in letter D. You do not need to fill in E. You do need to do F, which is your birth date. What you'll do there is select the month in which you were born, so I chose October and filled in the bubble. The day you were born, if you have a single digit day like the 9th of October, you need to include the 0 first and then the 9, and then bubble in 0 and 9. And then the year, so 2003 is 03, and then bubble in the corresponding letters that go, or numbers that go with that. You may skip G that asks for your gender. You're going to fill out H1 and H2. You're going to fill out I, answering yes, that you would like to have some additional information. You're going to fill out J. If you are a 9th grader this year, you'll bubble in the 9th grade. And if you are not a 9th grader, if you are a sophomore, you're going to bubble in other. In K, it asks, will you be testing at the school you are attending? You're going to fill in bubble yes, which means then you can skip L and M and continue on at letter N. Teachers, please pause your video now. Now that you're back, we need to start on the student information section at letter N. The student information section deals with things that are specific to you. And you'll notice beginning on page 7, there are a series of questions that ask you to respond. And you'll respond to those questions in the bubbles next to the corresponding number. So the first question at letter N says, what language do you know best? I'm an English language person, so my response would be letter A. I would bubble in A and fill in the remainder of section N all the way through question 10, which ends on page 8. Teachers, pause your video now and give your students time to fill those in. When you are finished with section N, in this test booklet, the next section you need to fill out is you have to turn the page to page number 2, and you're looking for letter P. Letter P, if you look in the test booklet, it gives you examples of how to fill this in, but I'll go through it with you as well. Letter P is mandatory. It is your current mailing address, where you live. And it goes as follows. You need to write the number of your house, so in my case 168, and then before the name of your address, before the name of the road you live on, you're going to leave a space and then neatly write the name of the road, in my case Lee, L-E-E, and then leave a space and then put an abbreviation for the type of street. In this case it's a drive. And you can find abbreviations for different types of streets on page 10. And you'll bubble in the corresponding letters as you've done before. 168 Lee Drive, 168 Lee Drive. When you get to section Q asks you what city you live in. I happen to live in Liberty, so I've written Liberty and bubbled in the corresponding letters. If you live in Kansas City, you're going to need to write Kansas, leave a space, and then city. In section R, it asks for your state code. If you go down to the section below it, it gives you a listing of state codes. You live in Missouri, so the state code for Missouri is 26. I've written a 26 here and bubbled in the corresponding letter. Teachers, give your students some time, pause the video. The next section deals with your interests in things to do when you get outside of school or when you get to college. So the interest inventory, you're going to respond in one of three ways. You're going to bubble in a D if you dislike to do the thing. You're going to bubble in an I if you are indifferent or you don't really care whether you do the thing or not. And you're going to bubble in the L if it's something that you like to do very much. So the first question says, explore a science museum. If you're one that likes to explore a science museum, you would bubble in the L for like. Number 2 says play a musical instrument. If you don't like or don't really care whether you play an instrument, you're going to hit D for don't like, or you're going to bubble in I for I don't care whether I learn how to play an instrument or not. Teachers, pause the video and give your students time to fill out the interest inventory that begins on page 13 in the booklet. The next section we're going to tackle is section U. Section U has to do with your needs as a student. So you need to be honest with you as what your current level, what needs you may need moving forward. So they say things like, I need help making plans for my education, my career, or work after high school. If that applies to you, bubble in the first one. Read each of those 1 through 7 and bubble in the ones that make most sense for you. The last section deals with the courses you have currently taken or are taking right now, your academic history. And so, beginning on page 14 and 15 are course descriptions, which give you a definition as to what it is that they're asking for. So in the first section here, it's asking, what is your highest level attainment for English credit? If you are a current 9th grader, you have probably earned a half a credit in 9th grade English. If you are a current sophomore, you have a 1-year credit of freshman English and a half a credit of sophomore English. What it's asking for in the grade is, to the best of your recollection, what was the last grade that you earned in that class? And then for future courses, I plan to take an additional half credit of sophomore English if I am currently in sophomore English. If you are a current freshman, I plan to take 1 full credit of sophomore English. And if you plan to enroll in an AP level course, you need to put, I plan to take an AP level course out here. You need to go through all of the curricular areas, so English, then math, then social studies, and natural sciences, and check off all those that apply to you along with your grade and your future plans. In addition, you need to go to the foreign language section at the bottom. Tell us what your current number of years that you have fulfilled. If you have less than a year's worth of credit, you need to leave it blank. So if you have not completed a year's worth of foreign language, leave that section blank. You are now complete in filling out the demographic information. Please make sure you check all of your answers completely and that you have bubbled in each of the correct answers without any stray marks. If you have stray marks or you need to make a correction, make sure you erase completely and don't leave anything behind. When you're complete and you're sure that it is right, take it to your teacher so that they can check it.